You're here, I'm here, good music's here to be played and to be talked about. If I've earned your subscription by the end of this video, I'll be ever so grateful. I'm Alan, this is Alan Reacts. See you on that side of the tape. Hello all, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time, this is Alan Reacts. This isn't an analysis, it's a kind of a reaction because I'm looking back. If at the end of this you like it, give me the thumbs up. You know all the script, guys. Everything else is up to you. I'm just here to talk about it and hopefully entertain you a little bit. This is 10538 Overture, and in this we're going to learn just how, not learn, but I'm going to try and talk about how creative people think. Because sometimes I like to think I'm creative, and maybe I am if I'm adding cheese to my bacon sandwich. That's about as creative as I get. Although I can be okay with the camera sometimes. But this is 10538 Overture. This is the ELO's first ever single, released back in 1971 off their debut album. And there's more to the story, but let's just get into it and enjoy it for a while. You know the score, guys. That's a signature sound, you know. That I guess this is their early days. This song was originally going to be a B-side for the Move in a slightly different format, but it didn't turn out. So then this was written by Roy Wood, who later, after this, actually went on to leave ELO and become Wizard. Not become a wizard. This isn't... No, stop it. He formed the band Wizard. So it's 10538. Now, they got the name of the song because I think Jeff Lynne looked at the console he was mixing on and it was 1053. And then Roy Wood, just creative, said, let's add an 8 because that'll be better for the melody. And that just that alone tells you how do these creative types think differently than the average person who has some creativity but isn't off on a tangent like these guys. So yeah, it was originally a song for the Move. A B-side for the Move, but they turned it into their first single A-side. And we'll get into a bit more of it, but let's pull it back just a bit. Overture just means an orchestral opening to an operatic play. So that kind of gives you a hint of maybe where the song is themed contextually, where it's what it's trying to achieve, other than entertain you, which I'm sure it will. I know the song a little bit, but it's in the distant memory, so it's been a long time. Keep hearing Dear Judith. You know, I'm listening, and for me, it's, dampeners on. There's like a lot goes into this just for my kind of untrained ear. There's cellos, and obviously when they've made this, there's been lots of different layers put on, so lots of sounds have gone in from one instrument multiple times, obviously. But I always struggled with why electric light orchestra. When I was a kid, younger, even in my 20s, like, why would you call yourself ELO? I remember seeing the big spaceship on record labels and stuff. And as I've sort of reflected more on the band, and this isn't my first sort of reaction, think about looking back at ELO, there's a playlist on the channel, guys. Go find it and see what you think. It really was that they wanted to create, Jeff Lynne wanted that bigger sound, that more orchestral sound. And in this first song, it feels like, I said Dear Judith, because that's what I can hear. And I've talked about this, guys, before, where songs just bleed into one another because of chord structure. And, people are always trying to sue people on music, and sometimes maybe rightly so, and sometimes not. You can't claim a chord progression as yours. And it's just that. I hear it and I think, oh, God, Dear Judith. But also, there is some familiarity there with that sort of late 60s Beatles sound. You can hear it. It's not imitation, it's not clean lifting, it's just that's what Jeff Lynne would have, the same era, would have come through with his music. And it's great, I can hear that sound. It's great. Yeah. But let's just end the song. You can hear the play, the opera. Such orchestral at times. For my humble ears, if there's too much going on, I stop listening because I just can't work it out. And I've said this, I've said to friends when I'm listening, they'll go, oh, I've listened to this band, and I'll go, there's just too much going on. I can't make sense of it. There's too many distractions in order for me to stay focused on the theme of the song. But with this, I know because that introduction, that opening, and because I'm familiar more with the ELO, and have been all my life, but not to the level I'm at now, you can hear this as their hallmark sound, right? But whilst it's very complex, it's far beyond my skill base to understand how they did all this. It's pleasant. It's a little bit of a challenge. I have to focus. But the song, it's open to interpretation. I think I read that it was the story of a prisoner who's trying to escape. But this also could be how your life just fades before you in so many different ways, that you're running away from something, that the journey you're on isn't a good one. Did you watch his face? It was 10538, the final lyric of the song. Did you see that man running through the streets today? It's at that time, guys, you remember, I've things like when you go back, when I'm doing like Supper's Ready and stuff, Genesis, and you've got the early Moody Blues, they were sort of, I suspect, one of the first deemed progressive rock albums. This isn't progressive in that sense, because it was a different style. This is definitely sort of electric rock, but it's mixed in with orchestral stuff, and it's great. And I guess I'm trying to make sense of it in my head. Why? Because it wasn't a hit in the UK. It wasn't a hit in America, although they would go on to have many big hits. This was a hit in the UK, number 22, somewhere around there. Relatively successful in that area based on single sales, were far more competitive than they are now. I think if someone breathes on it now, it's number one. If you know what I mean, I'm being hyperbolic, but you think those guys who are from that arena that time, you'll know what I mean. Yeah, to get to number 20 in the charts was an achievement. Genuinely a physical achievement. Physical copies of your record had to be sold, not just downloads. It's fascinating. I like that so much because it allows me to see that sort of origin, the hallmark sound of a band I truly admire, and I know are admired world over by millions. And it has that Beatless sound, and later on the Traveling Wilburys, Jeff Lynne would work with George Harrison, which is interesting in itself. How they've, that just story is great. As a first song that you release in an era where great music was being made in the 70s, had been from the late 60s onwards, so cool. So cool. If you like it, guys, give me the thumbs up. If you don't, that's okay. Till next time, take care. This is Alan Reacts. I'm Alan, your host. If I've earned your subscription by the end of this video, I'll be ever, ever, ever so grateful. But most of all, I want you to have a good time. I'm Alan. This is Alan Reacts. See you on that side of the table.